Fences in both places, ain't you? We're on the internet.
We're on the internet.
Yep.
Certain things you're not allowed to do in the workplace.
Work, one of them.
Well, that's right, work. Lord.
You see that workplace thing there?
Oh. Something to chew on while we're batting our gums. Woo. Tom Hetmaker claims there's other things in here too. It'd be real good to get him on the show.
It's 490,000 miles.
To the moon back twice. I mean, the moon back.
Okay. Now, right here.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said. What? Out in the ocean somewhere. And I don't know where it's at. I ain't got no location on it. They had some kind of little preserve thing. And the president has declared that 409,000 square miles that you don't drill, explore, dive.
Well, that ain't got a square in it, though.
Well, it says, if you're going down,
Okay.
it says square miles somewhere in here. I think, yeah, right here, square miles.
How many square miles in Tennessee?
I don't know.
Let's see, it's about 400, but
About 125, 140, 150. Well, that's not straight mileage. Probably about 110 straight.
that's 40,000, ain't it? That's 400,000.
You got any two numbers,
40,
you square it, you multiply number by number.
40, 100.
Be 4 zeros.
100 miles by 100 miles. Oh,
10,000.
Not fine. 400 times 100 right
No.
there.
10 is 100. 100,000. 10 is 10.
Wouldn't be that big, it'd only be about 4,000.
Ah, I'm
40,000.
lost on zeros. Folks,
40.
we're doing arithmetic right now.
40,000 square miles.
no, it said 490,000 square miles.
And we're talking about Tennessee.
That's right, it's 44. Wow,
That's a pretty good spot out there in the
it's
middle.
10
of the Pacific.
times as big as Tennessee.
Yeah. And it's a place in the Pacific Ocean that he has declared a marine, what do you call it, preserve?
How do you get authority over that much land?
Well, how do you get authority out in the middle of the Pacific once you go out past your,
Is it down near them islands that we conquered in World War II?
well,
Marshall
yeah,
Islands
it
or-
may be, it may be.
3 times the size of California.
Yeah.
We got a copy of the budget in here.
Looky here.
Well, I
Somebody
thought
got bailed out.
You got out.
you told me he wasn't coming, I took
Yeah, I
it
was
you
gonna bring
were.
my copy in, but I see we got one.
There you go.
That's captain's chair.
It's all right.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go right ahead there. Sit
That's
down there.
captain's chair.
I'll just lean on you if I need to lean, Bob.
Huh?
I'll just lean on you if I need to lean.
That'd be all right.
Lean on me.
That'd be all right. How are you, Jerry?
Fine. So that you were able to get bailed out.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got bailed out earlier. Yeah.
Did you take your goats with you as character witnesses?
I told him, I said, I think I'll let you know that if this comes to trial,
Don't
I'm
run
gonna
around
request,
with him.
I'm gonna request a jury trial. I said, I look on this as an assault on Tennessee's right to farm. So he's going back and forth up there between, they said, we just want to dismiss these charges. He said, now you don't let them out, goats out of you. I said, hell, I didn't let them out first time.
I get the honor of being the guest down there Tuesday. I'm gonna be a guest down there Tuesday.
Tell you what,
The old boy decided he wanted batteries and battery cables off them trucks. Another one, they caught that other one. So now it's gonna be his turn to pay.
well, good.
So
Let me ask you something, where's the budget for the sheriff's department?
I don't believe the sheriff's department comes under.
Yes, we're pretty close to being on the air, I believe. I haven't seen any light flash or anything.
They don't come under.
Huh?
They're separate, totally separate.
What?
They're exempted from the Finance Act.
Tell them who we are.
Tell them who we are, Bob.
I in the world, I got 214 people employed here. Oh, well?
Yeah.
Hey, folks!
Bob and Ron.
Right, welcome to the Wild Bob and Ronnie Show for Saturday. This is September the 27th, I believe.
All day long.
Yeah.
And we're coming to you from LaFollette, Tennessee, US of A. All you
Beautiful down
folks
there.
over there in Damascus and around the Mideast that are listening in, we got good news for you. Obama is on the trail of ISIS. So they better watch out. He's gonna slap them upside the head with a wet noodle.
Santa Claus ain't gonna come for them.
One.
If you want to call, if you're in a foreign country, use the national code of 1. Area code 423. If you're local, just call 562-3557 or 566-1450.
Right.
But don't call 562-5444 unless you need some
Right, there
propane.
you go.
Or 562-9370 unless you need a trip to the
You,
hospital.
you can not only get warmed up, but if you got a fever, they can cool you down on the way to the hospital.
Yes, sir. And
Want
when
to
you
say
reach
hello
room
to,
temperature, they've got something for that too.
want to say hello to one of our most loyal fans, Selma Terrell. Is that her name?
Who?
Selma Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell.
Terrell over in Clinchmore.
No,
She don't live in Clinchmore?
no. She lives in Rockhold, Kentucky.
Rockhold, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, she lived over here in Clinchmore. Huh.
All right, well, welcome.
No wonder nobody knew her.
There
When I
you
drove
go.
around over there knocking on doors.
I'm not
Looking
surprised.
for it. Yeah, there you go.
But she's a real loyal fan, always speaks highly of Ronnie.
Got her food, ain't it?
Good job, right?
She's a good cook too.
Folks, the Louie Bluey Festival began today at 10 a.m., goes till 10 o'clock tonight or 8 o'clock tonight. I don't know if they do anything tomorrow or not.
They used to have no, I don't know whether they do or not either. They have a concert on Friday, and that was yesterday.
But it's in honor of a resident of Campbell County by the name of Howard Armstrong. And he was a local musician that went away from here and tried to make good.
Right.
But he never hit the big time. But he did record some songs. And I'm going to tell you something. His version of Chinatown is as good as any I've ever heard.
Right.
And I can't believe on YouTube there's only been about 1,100 looks at it.
There was an article in the Sentinel about his son and telling what all his son
He's
had
a
done.
bass player, isn't he?
Well, he
Harold
plays,
Armstrong.
yeah, he
or-
plays a number of instruments, but yeah, he played bass in some well recognized bands. And he said he was more interested in his career that parallels his dad, in that his dad made sure he first reared his children, and then he pursued his career to, as a musician, and that's what Harold said he did. Said his first intent was to raise his children, and then whatever he got along the way for his a remuneration from playing in different bands, says that was so much the better. But I did notice one thing. That's one thing I want to bring up today. In all of this article that you wrote about Howard Armstrong, they made mention of the fact that there was a festival in his dad's honor. But they didn't give any particular, they didn't say it was gonna be on what day it was gonna be on, or where it was gonna be, or anything. They just said there was a festival. And I thought that was kinda a put down, that they really probably did that intentionally, so that people would not necessarily come up here rather than going to Knoxville. Now, what do you think about that, Edith?
Where was it at?
Huh?
Where'd you read it?
I read it in yesterday's, I believe, Knoxville Sentinel in their Knoxville edition.
Well, you would have thought they'd have had something about it, wouldn't you?
They didn't wanna help Campbell County out there, did they?
You know what amazed me? I didn't realize it. I was in Miami, Florida recently. Matter of fact, last Saturday. And I was amazed to realize that Miami was founded about the same year as the Folly. It was established as a town in 1897.
Yeah.
It's done a whole lot better than this town for some reason.
And
No, yeah,
for some
probably
reason
back
it grew.
now I'm on the radio show right now.
Probably because, all the drugs come through there, and all we do is consume them.
Is that it?
We
And
might
they-
get a percentage, huh?
I'm telling you.
They market them and distribute them down there,
It's
which
a whole
is a
lot-
profit-making enterprise, but all we do is consume the thing.
Well, it's a whole lot busier place down there than it is here. They actually do something down there besides just have a retail establishment. They build stuff and create stuff and make stuff and.
IBM's
You talking about down
microcomputer
in the
technology center down
lower
there close to
part
mine.
of 48? Yeah. Well, did you happen to mention that that place down there was incorporated about
That's
the
what I
same?
just said. If you get off the phone and watch this radio show.
You know,
There you go,
of
Bob.
course, we didn't have
We started
Fidel
at 4.
Castro, we didn't have Fidel Castro contributing to our welfare.
No. Did you know that the rest of us started at 4, Bob? I tell you what, the main thing I like about Miami is I'm taller than the general population down there.
Right.
Really?
Shoot, you ought to try out for the Miami Heat, the
Yeah.
local basketball team.
Yeah, them there Cubans are all short people and good looking women too.
And didn't you say all of them were riding around in a Mercedes?
They got, yeah, I've never seen as many Mercedes. I was walking up one street there and there was Mercedes and Escalades and there's one guy come through in a Bentley, man, and it was a family car. He didn't have a chauffeur, and him and his wife and kids driving around the Bentley.
How about that?
Well, what do they produce down there?
Drugs.
There you go. Do they?
They don't produce them,
They
they
just-
distribute them.
Okay,
Money.
distribution.
And money, yeah.
Money, yeah. The,
They're clearing out. Now, they've done pretty good with tourism.
Oh, yeah.
well, being on the ocean would kind
If
of.
we ever get our
good help.
beach finished, we might be able to compete with
Get her what?
our beach.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they're working on one out
They keep
there.
hauling that sand, they keep hauling that sand, we quit washing
They're
away.
working
If
on
we ever
one.
get the lake full, so we keep a little on the bank.
Yeah.
But fellas, there's something I asked a question about. This is not local, but the other day, I was curious as to why during the presidential debates and whatever, why no one asked the president when he changed his name to Barack. And I could never, seems to me like during the debate or whatever, somebody would ask when he changed his name, on what date or whatever, at least a year.
The establishment Republican Party
Well,
intends not to rock the boat.
Well, whenever a person changes their name, there's a reason. And it would appear to me that during one of these debates, just as a low blow, somebody asked why that he changed his name.
Did you ever really question why Marilyn Monroe changed her name?
Yeah, what's the matter, you?
Yeah, no, I
You're
didn't.
a
I
racist.
didn't know that she did, Roy Rogers. But anyhow,
You mean Leonard Slide?
John
his
Wayne.
real name?
This
John Wayne changed his, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Myron, Marion
Well,
Morrison,
it's,
wasn't it?
What is it?
Marion Morrison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but what was concerning me is why nobody asked. And I found out if it, and I got
What was
this,
it, what he changed it from to?
Barry Sartoro.
I think you got it wrong.
Okay, pronounce it for me if you
Well, I
will.
think it was Barack Obama by birth, and when his mother remarried, he started calling himself Barry Sotoro after his
That was a
stepdad.
stepdaddy.
I think his
Yeah.
birth certificate, you know, the one that they got out there under lock and key, I think it originally said Barack Hussein Obama.
Well, how do we get this thing all tangled up? But anyhow,
Well, he's one of them mutts, it's a
Oh,
different breed.
well,
Well,
we're
they
getting
found
come on.
they found a town in Kenya called Honolulu.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So they
Okay.
could just his birth.
Here's the point I'm trying to make. I heard a guy bring this on a show, and
You've been watching right beside Wild About Ronnie?
well, anyhow, this guy says that these people, candidates, before they go on to one of these debates, there's a list written out of what you're allowed and not allowed, or at least what you're not allowed to dig into.
It's all
And
monitored.
everybody signs on.
It is all monitored.
Well,
It's propaganda,
You-
first class propaganda.
In order to be in one of these debates, you've got to sign that you will not dig into certain aspects. And
And the establishment Republican Party goes along with it. They
well,
should not.
everybody goes along with it.
They
I don't
should
care
not.
whether you're Democrat or whatever.
Because they can't have a debate. Those debates make a
That's
lot
right.
of money.
You take
You
George-
couldn't have one if they refused to.
George still in office introduced abortion into, contraception into the debate, and there wasn't no reason, it just out of nowhere. He started that thing up on purpose, and then that there old fat woman that was on, that other debate, she got out there and argued against what old Romney said. Romney was right, you know, he had.
Yeah, she entered the debate,
Yeah.
and she was supposed to be just
That's when I'd have said, look, I come here to argue with him. If you want to argue with me, then just send him home or I'll take the floor.
Exactly.
But there ain't nobody got no gumption.
the establishment Republicans are too polite.
I know.
And they're country club Republicans who do not want to rock the boat.
Well,
You
this
can't
agreement,
argue in favor of something you don't firmly believe in is what the problem is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, the agreement though, what I found out though, don't care whether it's Democrat, Republican, or what it is. It's the fact that they make an agreement not to touch on certain subjects. You know, like, you don't ask me about this part, or if I sunk my car out there with somebody in it, or, you know, what you use your
You got
cigars
that
for, whatever,
problem.
you got things
When
you
John
don't, you
McCain
don't
ran
ask about
against
that.
Obama in 08, they instructed Sarah Palin on what she could say or could not say
Right.
when she was out there on the
What-
road.
And what she could,
They managed her dress, her makeup, everything. The whole thing was controlled, and what she said, and she was not allowed to be critical of Obama outside of those listed parameters
okay,
you're talking about.
but what does that do to a debate if you can go in there and write out all the things that any of your opponents cannot?
It has
Ask
everything
about-
to do with propagandizing the American public and maintaining a civil dictatorship.
Exactly right. Now, we get this locally, and I'm gonna go back to the Louis Bluey contest, you know. Everything is touted about how great this festival is. My question is, if it is so great, why did they cut it down from 2 days to 1 day this year?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
they
I
never
believe-
had 2 days.
I believe-
They didn't have 2 days last
Yeah,
year.
they did, they had Saturday and Sunday.
They
It
were-
used to be all weekend.
Yeah,
They were
You know,
set-
they have blueberry festivals up in Indiana and New Jersey and places that last 3 days, and they'll have over 1 million people a day at them things. A blueberry festival.
Well, now, they were there in
Now, what are
prison.
we doing wrong? Why don't they go up
We
and
ain't got
find
no
out?
blueberries.
Why don't they
We
go
got no
up?
blueberries down there.
Well, we could have a smallmouth bass festival or
We ain't got
something.
no bass.
We ain't got any bass either. Oh, we're hurting. Maybe Dale Hollow would loan us some. You know, it always intrigues me that Dale Hollow, which is a lake over in Pickett County, is 1/6 the size of North Lake, but they bring in 10 times the revenue.
Now look, now he can't figure that out. If you take a lake that's the size of a pond and put as many fish in it as North Lake, they're gonna be easier to catch.
That's the
They
reason
got
when
them
they drove
hemmed
it,
up.
when they drove the lake down out here, I like it, there's less room to hem them up in, you know.
You remember the flood they had in Nashville?
Yeah,
30 people died and $5 billion worth of property damage.
yeah.
And they asked, you know, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers
Yeah.
controls Cumberland River,
Yeah.
and they have 4 of those major lakes, and asked them why you didn't, since they were predicting this big rain, how come you didn't draw down the lakes? They said, well, the cold water in the lakes would inconvenience the fish in the river. I swear they
I don't
said
know
that.
they had that many died, but I do know that they did.
Yeah, 30 people died from that.
The main argument for building the TVA was flood control, and now it's sacrifice that in favor of fish comfort.
They've had, well, they've had the world in 80, let's see, 80, February of 80, they had one of the biggest floods in Chattanooga that they've ever had in its entire history. It almost, I mean, everything in Chattanooga was like
Well,
10,
you know,
12 feet of water.
In order to keep Chattanooga from flooding, they flooded 730,000 acres.
To protect 7,500 acres,
Right.
they flooded 730,000 acres.
Yes, sir.
And it still floods
And
down
that's
there.
government logic.
And it
baby.
still floods.
Well, that's what it goes, it's like, we are somewhat misled, like I say, by our local newspapers, media and everything else. We are lullabied about a lot of things that just don't wash. And of course, the Louis Blues Festival, I enjoy it, I've been to it about every year. But when they painted all rosy and everything, then they cut down on the days that they operated. It would say to me that everything is not quite as booming as they would say it would be. And that's not just talking about the Louis Blues Festival, I'm talking about everything is painted.
I went
with a
on,
particular
Bob,
brush.
I went on YouTube and listened to some of his music, and I wasn't really impressed, except that his version of Chinatown, which is an old jazz blues song, and I think he did a world-class job of that one song. There ain't been 1,100 people listen to it. And there's a group, used to be a group in Knoxville called the Tennessee Chocolate Drops, and they put out a song called the Knox County Stomp, and it's had 7 times as many views as Howard Armstrong in Chinatown.
Right. Well, you know, also,
Tennessee
the
Chocolate
Tennessee
Drops.
Chocolate Drops also spawned.
North
the
Carolina's got
Carolina
one called Chocolate Drops.
Also, yeah.
They've got a current group that's really good too.
Right. Well, I was amazed the first big production that I attended as a freshman at the University of North Carolina.
That was in 1950,
Was
wasn't it?
a show put on by, it was
1950?
a show put on.
1912? 1912, okay, go ahead.
It was a show put on by the Hot Nuts Combo.
Oh, no, they're out of Georgia Tech. They had those X-rated songs.
Why, Bob Ronnie?
Hey, Bob.
Hey!
These county commissioners wanted me to call you and ask you how you balance the budget. I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, I've got a thing, I brought this thing, it was printed in the paper.
Right.
And thank you, caller, for that call, because we really do need to discuss this, and it'd be great if we had Tom Hatmaker to come and show us all the areas that money's been hidden. But there's one thing in here that really concerns me.
More than one concerns me.
On the right-hand side, third box up, it says General Debt Service Fund. And it says debt service cost for 2012-13 was $4 million. Then, in 2013-14, it jumped to 11.4 million. That was a 7.4 million increase in debt service.
Right.
Now, proposed in the upcoming budget for 2014-15, he's got in here 4.4 million. Now you tell me how this thing jumped 7.4 million from one budget year to the next,
And then back down.
when the debt stayed basically the same, and then how's it dropping 7 million from this past?
One of the bills
budget
come
year to
due,
the
and
coming
One
budget
of the
year.
bills come due and we paid it, that's simple.
But debt service is what you pay on your loans.
I know, but one of them, they recalled a note and wouldn't reissue it, and we had to pay one of them off.
Well, why don't Jeff Marlowe tell somebody that?
Well, that's gotta be what it is, it's the only thing that makes sense.
Well, we need to see the documentation. I would
just
like
made
to,
that up, I don't have a document.
Well,
I would like to see a grand jury investigation of this one figure alone. And let Marlowe explain what that's all about. And I think every member of the county commission should look at this. Why does it jump from 4 million to 11.4 million when our debt stayed, you know, we didn't borrow that much. Thank God we didn't pass that convention center thing, that Lighthouse
Oh,
Convention
that wasn't
Center.
gonna cost the county nothing.
Oh, it would have. It would have been on our debt, property debt. We borrowed, counting principal interest, over 2 million on the solar panels. And I don't know what else, but that wouldn't send it up $7.4 million.
Went up
And then
7
it wouldn't
million.
drop 7 million
Well, went up 7 million.
from,
almost.
from 2013 to 2014, it went up 7.4 million.
Right, okay.
Now, the coming year, he's dropped it 7 million. I want to know where that 7 million went.
Well, the question is, how would you balance the budget, Bob?
I would have what?
Well, that right there's $7 million.
Well, first of all, I'd start burning some propane from down at Digger Wilson's gas company.
Well, that would help.
Yeah, it really would, because it would just, good, clean heat, 100%. You capture every bit of the energy that's put out by that propane, and Digger will service what he sells, unlike the solar panels that's probably gonna be dilapidated and hanging off them buildings in just a few years. Digger's equipment will stay up to date and modern.
Okay, to answer our caller's question with another box. Now, this is the third box down on the left-hand side. This is on the last page of the sports page of the La Follette
That's
Press
what it
that
is,
came
it's a
out
sport.
Thursday. The Ambulance Service Fund. Now, they're wanting to spend $2.5 million on ambulance service for the coming year. They need to privatize that one category.
Well, wait a minute, is that after they, that would be considered a loss on the service, wouldn't it?
Well, they think they're gonna be bringing in, from local taxes, they're gonna bring in 80,000 and other sources. That's probably billing Medicare and Medicaid. It's supposed to bring in 2.482
Right,
million
right.
for a total of 2.562 million. That's what's bringing in. That's what's estimated to come in. And what'll be going out is 2.562 million. That right there would cut the budget. That would cut the budget $2.5 million if we privatized. If we just shut down the ambulance.
Well, no, it wouldn't cut it that much. It's going to, but not really the way they show it. They show that local taxes, the supplement for the ambulance service is $79,668. this other sources is supposed to be what they collect.
what they bill for.
Okay, what they, what
But
they
they're
collect.
jacking this up from 2 million to 2.5 million.
Right.
There's $500,000,
Well, they
Bob.
went up $500,000 this
There's
year.
$500,000
Right.
if they privatize.
But they
It would
also,
save it.
they
Expecting better
also,
business.
they also, said that they would bring in almost 4 million, $482,000 more next year than they did last year.
Yeah, they're gonna jack it up, $500,000.
Right, well.
And that's half your deficit right there.
Well, who would you recommend getting to privatize this with?
And well, I'd recommend, bidding it out.
Well, wait a minute, we've already got a private ambulance service.
That's right.
It's
Let
not
'em-
costing the county anything.
That's right, not one penny of tax dollars, and they should bid on it, pay the county a fee for getting the franchise, and that way we'd have money coming in and none going out,
Well, you
in
know,
that one category.
You know, I broached this to John Bond, who has 40-some years' experience in the ambulance service and who owns and operates Vital Care.
562-9370 if you need an ambulance.
John said he was interested and he would be an interested party in doing all ambulance service for Campbell County. So it's not something that you would have to push off on anybody. They would take it on with a great deal of pleasure in anticipation of providing good service as well as making money off it.
Now, right now, the county ambulance service only has 24 employees. They're planning on having 35 in the upcoming year.
About 6 people.
That's average of what, 30,000 a person, counting benefits and
Almost
everything?
50% increase in staff too.
Yes. So therefore, by privatizing that ambulance service, checking into our debt service fund and what's going on there, and I would also want to see a breakdown of these general capital projects. Does that include hauling sand to the Money Hole Park Beach? Truckload after truckload of sand?
Right. When Ronnie asked me a while ago what I would do to balance the budget, if you go up here.
We not only have general capital projects, Bob, we got other capital projects.
Oh, yeah, we got
We
plenty.
got them all over the place.
Well, I was gonna look up here in the general fund, okay?
Here we go now.
In the general fund, they have total estimated revenue of $13,581,000. They expect total expenditures to be about 100,000 more, 116,000, 126,000 more dollars than what they're taking in. And my question is,
He says here he's gonna spend more than he's got coming in.
well, here,
That don't make
here you
sense.
got 13,581 supposed to come in. You got 13,655 supposed to go out, which is
He's planning on spending 100,000 more than he's got coming in.
$126,000 more.
And he
But-
plans on cutting 2 positions.
Right, but now my point is, where are these 214 people employed as a result of the general fund?
That's all over the courthouse.
Huh?
That's all over the courthouse. That'd be in the deeds office, the county clerk's office. Only the sheriff's office.
They ain't 214.
The sheriff's office is exempted from that.
I know that, but there's not 214 people in that courthouse on court day.
Well, half of them work in the finance office.
Huh? 20-some of them do work in the finance office, but we got
Marlowe's been the best thing to lower unemployment in this county of anybody we've ever had.
214 people working out of the general fund with a total salary and benefit of $4,276,000.
Well, that
Now, I'm
counts.
gonna start cutting right there.
Does that not count the garbage collectors and the road?
What is that
people?
thing, where they collect trash down there? What's that called? Environmental agency or or something,
Yeah.
or, don't we have
Yeah,
one
we got
of
a dog.
he's
catcher
under the
too.
county mayor.
Mhm.
We got a dog pound under the county mayor, but that thing right now is on, pretty much on hold, I think. I don't know exactly what the status of that
What are they
is.
doing with the dogs?
Well, they're not doing any
I
dogs.
think everybody feeds the ones they done got.
I don't believe they got any. I
You
believe they
don't?
cleared them all
Maybe they
out.
want some.
You also have an industrial economic development fund, which has, I believe, 1.25 people working.
Now, that's the job I wanted. I wanted to be that .25 employee.
They estimate spending, with just a little over one person, $374,000 a year.
Where at?
That's the, Industrial Economic Development Fund.
Now, wait a minute.
How can we get
You
in
got one employee and
1.25.
salaries and benefits of $322,000 for the
Now,
coming year?
salaries and benefits, $51,430.
Oh, okay, I read it wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong call. We need a ruler
But
there.
they got total expenditures, other costs of $322,973 for a total of, $374,403 on the industrial, development.
It costs a lot of
fund.
money to develop costs a lot of money to develop industry around
Well,
here.
Does that include the incubator?
Must do.
Yeah. Which, that means it's.
Well,
it's
that tickled me, old John Brown. You can't say he ain't a good government worker, but he was over at the bank with that
Well, the cost-
incubator. He got a new job.
Right.
E.L. Morton, got elected county mayor, so E.L. Morton had to resign as head of the, Chamber of Commerce. They appointed John Branham for head of the Chamber of Commerce. He took his incubator program with him, and now it's being run out of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So he's getting paid for two jobs now instead of one.
We need, well, I'm not, now, you're gonna think I'm making a joke, but I'm telling you the truth. We need to hire Bob Andrews to recruit some business for this county and give him, a percentage of everything he brings in for the first year, and I'll guarantee you we'd prosper.
I'll guarantee you that too.
If there was a profit in it for Wild Bob,
Well, then you
I
take,
guarantee he'd be beating
You
doors
take-
down over in Japan and China.
if you don't knock on the door, if you don't present yourself, if you don't, go in and give somebody a good run for their money about what we have to offer here in Campbell County, and we've got a lot to offer here. We've got wonderful scenery. You can say what you want to about our educational system. We've got as good an educational system as they have in Anderson County. I really feel that. My daughter, who graduated from one of my daughters, I had two graduate from here in Campbell County, went right over to the University of Tennessee, and I believe Ronnie's kids did also. And they were kind of like me. I came to the University of North Carolina out of a school that had 35 in the graduating class, and I sat right there while all these kids from these big schools failed and flunked out of school, and I was there when they were gone. And so we have an educational system here that is worthy of people coming in here with industry. And to say that you've got to have more education to get a job in Campbell County than you do in Anderson County is crazy, because people can graduate from Campbell County, go right over to Anderson County and get a job. But they can't get a job here because there are no jobs.
I'll tell you what I noticed the other day. Over there in Clinton, they've got two industrial parks, or whatever you want to call them. They got one on each end, and they got businesses in both of them.
Right.
We ain't got none of them anywhere. I mean, we got two, I think, but we ain't got one or two businesses in the whole blame shooting
You
match.
take one of the big uproar was over Jacksboro Metals locating out here on the Toe String Road. And one of our candidates for county commissioner, who is now a county commissioner, wanted to eliminate that business so bad that he suggested throwing tax out down the road to stop people from coming in there.
Well, we had another one to change the fence or something. so we
Right,
couldn't
and
get in.
then you've got one who was a county commissioner that is no longer a county commissioner, wanted to put up guardrails so they couldn't make the turn. And that's where we got them pressured into putting the guardrails on Hunter's Branch, which is a very dangerous situation. We got the guardrails put there. What I'm alluding to, that area where you turn in there and go by Jacksboro Metals, everything on the right is owned by Rogers Groups now, I guess. It used to be the people that owned the quarry there owned it. There's nothing in there. And the few people that are old residents there, they need to buy all those people out, widen that highway, open it up all the way around there for industrial development. They said, well, we got land out here past the armory. Well, there's land all over this county, but people want to be where the action is. Now, that's the reason they located Jacksboro Metal there, because they were close to the population center. And that's the reason they would also locate factories and things of that nature, because we're close to the population center, and people can easily get to work, and they don't have to drive all the way from here to the other side of Knoxville to make a living for their family.
Is there an industrial park up off 141?
There's name one up there, I don't know if it's anything there or not.
Is that the one we were talking about 1,900 acres? He's gonna bring an auto plant in there. Where do they go for lunch?
I don't know, I know where to go to the post office, go up the valley.
And where do they go if somebody gets hurt on the job? Look how far you gotta go.
I think they got a heliport up there too, I believe. I believe they have.
Oh, okay.
If they got any business
That would
up
help
there?
a little.
Yeah, there's
There's
several
a couple,
businesses
there's
up there.
two factories up there, aren't they?
Yeah,
Well,
but now,
right there,
let me,
well, you got Camel.
Is that in that? Is that in that?
Is what
Kent.
what-
Yeah, you gotta go down by Adult World there to get
Well,
to it.
didn't they have another one down there, they started down there next to Interstate?
what location?
I don't know, it was up there somewhere.
On top of the mountain, and
Well, you
Yeah.
got two Japanese auto parts distributorships up there that inspect and ship out auto parts. And I know my wife worked up there and made real good money, about $14 an hour, $15 an hour. But that was a heck of a trip up there in bad weather, going up that hill out of Caryville, you know, because
I would say probably, and I don't see this as forethought. You see, if you go back several years ago, there was a proposed to turn that area into a golf course area to the left. And there were several prominent business people, local, that were involved in it, but they were going to sell it to the county. And I believe they had some kind of a deal to whether they sell it to the county, and this is going back about, I'm going to say 8 or 10 years ago probably. They were going to sell this thing to the county, the golf course, for $12 million. And they were going to hold the property around it for residential. But yet the county somehow was going to have to do the infrastructure work on it.
streets,
Well,
sewage, water,
Yeah,
electric.
the whole 9 yards, but then they were going to donate the golf course or allow the county to own the golf course after, I'm gonna say 20 years.
Well, it costs a lot of money to maintain golf course.
It does.
Well, anyhow, my understanding of what went wrong with this deal, the county was pretty much ready to do it, but I believe the federals declared that the owners of it, whenever they transferred it, that they would be held liable for the taxes on the $12 million somehow as a capital gains. And I think that kind of changed the whole view of the thing, was the fact that they was going to have to pay this tax. That's my understanding of it.
I remember something like that.
Yeah, but then it fell through. And this, if you go even further back, it was what was called Coal Town. It was a amusement type thing. I guess you would call it kind of like a museum or a theme of the coal mines.
That didn't go anywhere, did it?
Preacher Thacker put considerable investment into that. But if we go back to what you're saying about factory, it would be much nicer if people could live close to it. But this is where if you would get away, and we don't even have the zoning thing, I'd say the only reason, or the reason behind it, that the factories are there is because they had that was a coal mine, a strip mine. And we're getting into a whole bunch of useless trivia here, I guess, but anyhow, that's where they had the big accident where that shot went wild. Now, you know what I'm talking about there?
West Coal Company.
Okay. This pretty much, I believe, ended West Coal Company.
Yeah, there was employees that I had gone to high school with that had to quit West Coal and got jobs teaching school over in Scott County. And one of them, Jack Lay, is now the mayor over there doing super well
Okay.
with the city of Oneida.
My side of things, as far as government and whatever else is concerned, is we've allowed government to take so much control, and they tell us they're gonna secure us and all this stuff. If the government would get out of stuff and cut back a little bit on things, I just had an experience here not long ago about where someone comes in and tells you something that's written down as some sort of a rule or regulation. Whenever you know how to do something, you know, like with equipment, you know what equipment will do, but yet someone somewhere that probably doesn't have any common sense but have read a book or write a rule, that rule becomes a law, whether it makes any sense or not. And we're not allowed to take any responsibility for what we do. We've got the government telling us everything. I'm talking about just about everything.
Micromanaging everything.
That's
and
what's
it ruins the economy.
Well, it's not only when they go to micro.
Well, they pick the winners and losers.
Well, but yet they have to hire so many people to come out to enforce rules that just kill you.
Yes.
And
Everybody's got a brother-in-law or a son-in-law that needs a job.
that's right. So,
Well, well,
until
you
we
know-
change the way we do things, until we get the government to back off and let this country grow. And this country's not gonna grow. Right now, we've got to compete against a world market. But yet, not only do we compete against a world market, we've got the government. An individual
We
out
have to
here,
compete against
you've
the
got to
government.
compete against the government.
Well, the leftists, the left-wing radicals in this country right now are working their butts off on this man-made global warming, and basically they think the cure for that is going to be a carbon tax. So
There's no
you
cure.
can look down the pike, and I think Ronnie liked a little thing I wrote that basically said they couldn't figure out a way to tax the air we breathe, but they have come up with a way to tax our exhalations
All right, let me ask you
And other
something.
emissions.
and other emissions.
Let me ask you something, I hope the people will listen to this. We're talking about man-made global warming. Do you really think that 400 parts to 1 billion is gonna have any effect on the?
Well, the only man-made warming I can recommend comes from down the Sawmill Holler,
Yeah,
562-5444.
5444.
But that's a natural,
It's down at
gas.
Wilson's Gas Company.
It's natural gas.
The man's got more
Natural
different
propane.
flavors of gas than Baskin Robbins has ice cream.
That's right. Now, that's the global warming I speak in
He was
favor
down
of.
there working this morning, I saw him there this morning, and, he was there hustling around and making sure all of his flavors were up to date and that they all were fresh, and he was just scurrying around there this morning. So, that's Wilson's Propane, down in Sawmill Hollow.
Let me throw something at you.
That's 562-54444444.
Let me throw something at you. We got hit hard in 2011. And, 2001.
One.
2001, you're talking about.
Yeah, but anyway, we got hit hard. I knew that didn't sound right, but I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the number. Anyway, we got hit hard, and it done us a lot of damage. But our fear of what happened then has done us even more damage.
It's done us hundreds of times more
That's
damage.
true.
Well, they hear every word we whisper now.
You know, in World War II, Pearl Harbor was bombed, and according to what our government's saying up there now about the attack on the Twin Towers, Pearl Harbor was simply an aircraft
Yeah.
attack, or how they worded
I
it.
don't know who this is. Man-made catastrophe of some kind.
Well, it did destroy the Pacific Fleet, almost.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, this here ISIS thing, that they want to call ISIL because that includes Israel, but this ISIS thing is another leg of that same setup. We're going to give in even more, and in the long run, whenever you got as many people of unknown origin crossing our borders, you're in a lot more danger there than you are getting beheaded because they cut off some newspaper guy, reporter. Now, I mean, it's an awful thing to get murdered, especially if it's you. But those guys went over there knowing they weren't going down to the Disney World when they went there. So they got some responsibility of their own. Now, I know it's a noble profession maybe, but
It's not a part of ISIS, it's a part of Al-Qaeda group there in Syria that is actively recruiting people with U.S. passports who have explosive experience. And they intend to bring down some additional aircraft as a result of their efforts. And we're not only bombing ISIS, we hit this group too also. And so we've got some challenges over there, but our greatest challenge is here in this country on our southern border, and it's something that we can take care of. You know, really, if the government can't do it, if they just give the okay for a volunteer force to go down there, we could raise enough people from Tennessee to go down there and take care
yeah,
of
we
the
went down
water.
there in Stone, Texas, and the Mexicans, I know we go down there and take you back.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we could raise enough people
Our problem
in
was we stopped
Tennessee
at
to go
the
down there
Rio
and take care of
Grande.
it.
We should have kept going.
Well, fellas, as long as we've got an open border, not only that, but we've also got like the people with the passports that can come and go at will. We have an open border, and there's a lot more coming across than, the government's not going to tell us the truth about things.
Not everybody who comes across that border is coming looking down and work down in the ditch digging department.
That's correct. And our leaders, they allow this to happen. They're allowing it to go on. We got Eric Holder, which I reckon he's decided that he's going to stand down. But right there,
You heard what Rush Limbaugh said about
I
that.
sure did. I heard what he said about it.
Holder
But this-
wants to be appointed to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he's going to be
It'd be
a,
easier to get him on the Supreme Court if he's not a member of the Department of Justice at the time the opening
Boy,
comes
we've
up.
really been trouble in with
Well-
gotta pray for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
but he's right now in contempt of Congress. Nothing's being done about it. And
It
there's,
hurt his feelings.
well, I don't think there's any question of the fact of the guns that he was running to Mexico. I mean, that's just pretty well a given fact. The last bunch that they ran across was 12,000 weapons, thereabouts, that got the agent killed. But in total, there was something like 60,000 weapons sent across that border.
Was that under Fast and Furious?
Yeah, that's under Fast and Furious.
That many?
Well, what do you
Well,
think,
see,
what do you
see,
think about Mr. Holder resigning?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. See, the only thing that got the thing caught was the fact that this agent got killed with one of those guns. And the gun he got killed with was one that went across in the last batch of about 12,000.
Yeah.
And they tell us that they was going to trace them guns. They had no way whatsoever, no intention.
You
They
don't
tell
send
us-
60,000 over to trace them, you send 14.
You know, well, the way I see it, why send them over to trace them? There's better ways to trace than to send a deadly weapon.
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
least
what do you
put a little concrete in the barrel,
Well-
we'll do that on the display cannon.
How do you trace? Do you look for dead bodies
I reckon,
and take ballistic reports?
you must do it,
Uh,
finish out the bullets.
well, they expect us to believe all this stuff, and most of us do. Like,
The drug cartel was funneling large amounts of money into the coffers of the Democrat Party.
well,
So
whenever.
Obama and Holder and all of them owed them.
Oh,
They
Okay.
owed them.
That's one of our Norse gods, ain't it, Odom?
but
Had
anyhow,
to send them guns.
this is, I don't know how to explain it, but anyhow, like, during the election, Holder, we had these Black Panthers or whatever spinoff, but just standing in front of an election place with
This
batons.
was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and do you reckon that would work here in these hills? If you send these people down here to stand in front of the election places with their batons, how long do you think they would last?
When somebody cut their batons up,
I'd say,
Let's try it in
I'd say
November and see. We
uh,
got an election
well,
coming up in
anyhow,
November, about a month,
we've got places,
November 4th,
just like,
5 weeks.
the president was there, there was a place that voted so many 100,000 votes and he got every single vote.
In 39 precincts in Philadelphia, not one single vote went for Romney.
That's in 39 precincts.
Yeah, now,
That's-
in 19 precincts in Cleveland, they went 100% for Obama.
Well, this
Now,
is,
I'm sorry, somebody would show up drunk and push the wrong button.
well,
Out of that many
absolutely,
people.
you cannot,
Ain't no way.
Yeah,
this
but did
tells
you
you,
ever think that maybe those 8 or 10 that was gonna vote for Romney pushed the wrong button?
well, this tells you about our national elections.
How about Ronnie? Hey,
Ronnie.
how are you?
Well, I'm listening to you guys. I don't know if I missed something or not, but I was wanting to hear some intelligent input on what you guys think about the new executive order that we're fixing to get where Obama is going to allow the illegal immigrants into the military. And I don't know if y'all commented on that and I missed it or not, but I was wondering, and I trust my own opinion on it, but that's supposed to be the next executive order, coming down to where the illegal immigrants will still get on into the military, so they'll have a paycheck, and I just wondered if you all commented on that yet.
nope, we've
No,
not.
we haven't, but I heard something, that this has already, in effect, if I'm not mistaken. I think a large part of our military now is undocumented people, and I'm not gonna call them citizens, because they're not citizens until they're
Oh, really?
documented.
I didn't realize that.
I'm sorry?
I didn't realize that. I know we're supposed to be getting an executive order where a lot of the illegals are going to come into the military. I didn't realize they were already in. I guess he's just covering his own heads, maybe.
Okay, they have I saw a thing where that, the military service people were being awarded their citizenship if they would serve in the military, that they would give them their,
That's
Didn't we have
citizenship.
that policy?
We've had that for a long
Yeah.
time. That
Yeah,
goes
Yeah.
way back.
that's been
Look,
going
Miller.
on, yeah.
Let's give Vice Chair just a little more plug there.
All right.
Before we run out of room here.
Right.
Well, thanks for your call, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, we've got a
That
little
was
bit
our
more.
rock hold.
Well, I've always been for, and I'm still for, the privatization of our county-run ambulance service. It's been totally incompetent. It showed an ability to be completely incapacitated. It